What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review for Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 1, Episode 16. So we start this episode off with Melody and Martell. Melody, it's the day after the party that they had for Kimmy's son, his 21st birthday. And I guess Martell got in a little bit later than Melody would have wanted him to. And she was like, look, I'm pregnant. You know I need you here. So what's good? Where were you last night? And so he tells them where he was and everything. And he said, we were just hanging out. We gave him some good advice. Melody was like, who giving advice? He was like, me, Marceau, blah, blah, blah. She said, because Martell and Marceau can't give nobody any good advice. I sure hope he got some advice from somebody else. Melody was cracking me up this episode. And let me tell you something. I was here for you this episode, Melody. I don't know if you watch my reviews or not, because I know I be giving you a hard time a lot of times. But on this one, boo, I was with you, Miss Melody, on this one, okay? So Martell said, well, I heard, I talked to Marceau, and he said he came by the office and you told him, you telling our business again. He said, why do you keep telling our business? Melody was like, why do you keep making business to tell? I said, I know that's right, Melody. I know that's right. And she said that with such a straight face. Why you keep making business? And what's funny to me for Martell is he don't want Melody telling business that makes him look bad, but he don't have no problem telling their business when it's something that he thinks makes him look good. And we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, so that's, in Martell's mind, he is really working his way back in. And Melody is like, boo, you still wiping your feet on the welcome mat, okay? You not back in nothing. Now, Kimmy and her sister are looking for a venue because Kimmy is having like a back to school event or what have you, and she's using, I want to be clear about this. I believe for this particular event, she is using the Comeback Group name. She's doing it as her event, but on the flyers and everything, it says come meet the Comeback Group. So it gives the impression that it's a Comeback Group activity. And she's looking for venues and everything. And then she talks to her sister about what's going on with Monster and Maurice and the ex-wife and how that conversation went. And basically she just feels like Maurice just doesn't have her back as much as he should when it comes to the ex-wife. And she said, she feels like Maurice doesn't push the ex-wife because ultimately the ex-wife can block his time with Monster. So, and that's valid. That's valid. Her feelings are valid, and probably her reasoning for feeling like Maurice isn't defending her more is probably valid. And then they talk about the Comeback Group again. Kimmy's like, look, I really wish that we could do these types of activities together. This was sort of the vision, that we had for the group when we first started doing this. So that was an interesting conversation that they had. Then we see the hosts go on the radio, honey, and the radio where we see that Martell finally changed his phone number. Then we have this radio show, and it seems like the woman that they're doing the radio show with is a local DJ, but someone that's very respected in the community, but she's Tony Terrell, I believe is her name, but she's known as a straight shooter. And so they're there to promote the houses that they built on the former Comeback Group property and all that. We know about the houses. And, so she first starts talking to them about the houses. She said, you built this in a part of town that, was in need of good, decent, affordable housing. So the houses look nice. They look really cool, but are they affordable? And the answer, as it was edited, let me say that, as it was edited, the answer that Melody and Martell gave was, well, the first house sold above market value before we even put it on the market. That doesn't mean it's affordable to the people in that neighborhood. That just means that somebody bought it. If we're looking at gentrification, that's what gentrification and how it starts. You build these new, I saw it in DC, I saw it for myself. You build this new these new houses or condos or property. And yeah, the price point, somebody can afford it. But her question was, can the people who live in that neighborhood afford that price point? Just because you sold it and you sold it for above market doesn't mean it was the people who are already in that neighborhood bought it. But okay, I'm not going to nitpick. I'm just saying, from where it was edited, that was the question she asked. The fact that you sold it does not mean it was sold to someone who can afford it in that neighborhood. But I digress. Then she brings up Martell. She said, how do you guys feel about the fact that basically your private business is out there now? And she said, pretty much everybody knows, Martell, that you're a cheater. And you could immediately see Martell gets to squirming. He gets to being uncomfortable. He gets to feeling some kind of way about it. And, he said, well, look, I'm a former cheater, And she was like, okay, all right, well, that's good. That's good to know you're a former cheater. But, she sort of, gives it to him a little straight with no chaser, basically about the fact that, your business is out there on how you treated your wife and, how things went down. And like I said, Martell, you could tell he wasn't comfortable with the conversation at all. I don't feel like she dogged him out, but she definitely made it clear how she felt about it. Then she asked him about the comeback group. And again, she was calling it straight with no chaser, honey. She was like, they were giving very generic answers. Oh, well, we're regrouping. We're trying to figure it out. She was like, basically, if you read between the lines, that what they ain't talking. They don't know what's going on. She said, y'all sound like when a group breaks up and the lead singer want to go solo. Y'all talking about doing y'all own events, doing y'all own thing. She was like, it sounded like the comeback group. Y'all ain't got it together. Y'all don't know what's going on. And I said, I know that's right. See, so I feel like she was fair all the way around. She called it straight with no chaser, but I don't feel like she beat up on any one person in this equation. So then we go over to Letitia and Marcel. Let me tell y'all how much Letitia is getting on my nerves these days. So they're getting ready to have game night. The hosts are having game night over to their house. They haven't seen each other. They haven't all hung out since the trip to Gatlinburg to the cabin. And Marcel is really encouraging Letitia to go. Letitia's like, I don't know why he's making me go. Me and Melody aren't in a good place. Him and Martell have been able to make up and move on, but me and Melody still aren't there. And, I just feel like he's team Melody right now and he don't have my back. He was like, I'm not team Melody. I'm team friendship. Like, I'm team whatever we need to do to get past wherever it is we are and we can all be cool and be friends again. I think the game night is a great invitation, a great opportunity. They're extending, they're sort of extending a peace offering. I think we should take it, and I think we should take it for what's being offered. Like, I don't think we should turn it into more than what is there. And I agree with you, Marcel. Just go with an open mind and a good attitude, Letitia. So Marcel then opens up to Letitia and tells her what he found out when he went down to the office, that basically the woman called and Melody and Martell are kind of back in that space. So now Letitia was like, oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I mean, oh, that's terrible. Oh, well, I kind of feel differently now. Child, boo. Anyway, so we getting ready for game night, honey. The hosts are hosting at their home, like I said. And y'all know they know how to do game time. When it's time to be game and it's time to be hope, they know how to do it. And so, that's what they're doing. And the first people to show up are Kimmy and Maurice. But let me back real quick before they get there. Kimmy and Maurice are getting ready to go, and Kimmy is feeling some kind of way about feeling like she's not getting the support for her philanthropic endeavors. She said, I heard them on the radio and I heard them sort of hyping what they do in the community and hyping the things that they've been doing, but I didn't hear anybody promote my event. I didn't hear any support for my event. And in Kimmy's mind, it's a comeback group event. Y'all know I love me some Kimmy, but I have a different mindset a little bit on this situation, but I'll get there when we get there. Kimmy, I still love you though, girl. So Maurice, but again, they going in with a positive mindset of trying to come to some sort of understanding with this whole comeback group. Maurice is even wearing a comeback t-shirt. I guess it was like a t-shirt they had made when they were still the comeback group and they were, in better moments and better times or what have you. So they're the first to arrive, honey, because of course they always the first to arrive to hear them tell the story. That daggone shirt that Melody had on, baby, was beautiful. It was everything. It was basic it was a basic little black tank top right in the front. It was real cute. When I say basic, I mean it didn't look like what it was. But then when you saw the back of that thing, honey, it was the back out with the gold crisscross chain. That was beautiful, Melody. But Melody be ragging anyway. Melody be ragging now. Melody be ragging, okay? But anyway, so they were the first ones to get there, and so of course the first thing Martell saw was the comeback shirt. So he was like, oh, here we go. He was like, we just want to have a nice chill night, game night. We don't really want to get into all that. And Maurice was like, yeah, but we could talk later. We could talk later. And I was like, here we go. So they get to talking. I forget how it came up, but somehow another came up about how many kids Melody wanted to have. And so Maurice was like, so Martell was like, well, because he said he wants to have 5. He said, but, well, we're working on 1 now. Or something to that effect. And they were kind of looking around like, what you mean they working on? And Kimmy just came right out and said, are you pregnant? Like, the way the whole conversation went was weird, because I don't understand how they made the connection between what Martell said to Melody being pregnant. However, women being women and women understanding women, especially women who have had children, it was probably in the back of Kimmy's mind from Gatlinburg because of how sick Melody was in Gatlinburg. It probably wasn't a big leap because she probably was already thinking it. She didn't necessarily say it on camera, but she was probably already thinking it. And that's kind of what I feel like kind of went down with that. But neither here nor there. Y'all know so now Melody is the one that's like, okay, so you can't keep a secret because we said we wasn't going to tell nobody that we pregnant. But now all of a sudden, the Holtz know. Well, the Scotts know. One half of the Scotts. Maurice and Kimmy. And they said, well, this is top secret information, what have you. So the next couple to arrive was Marceau and Letitia. And as soon as they got there, Letitia had to go to the bathroom. So she went, and Melody asked Kimmy to go outside with her. And basically Melody said, look, can you please just not share this information? We want to just kind of keep it confident. And, I'm not really in a good space with everybody else right now. And so I really would appreciate if you would just keep this between us for now. And Kimmy was like, it was clear she didn't want me to tell Letitia, but I'm cool with that. I'm fine with that. That's okay with me. So Letitia ends up coming out there, and the first thing out Letitia's mouth is, now she talking about something, well, I guess Melody had something to talk to Kimmy without me, and, what were y'all talking about, and I'm like, sometimes you have to respect that you have a different relationship with people. You're not in a good place with Melody right now. It doesn't matter what they were talking about. You weren't a part of that conversation. I know it can be awkward, I guess, coming out there and knowing they were having a conversation that didn't include you. But they immediately began talking about, regardless of whether it was a lie or not, they didn't just totally ice you out. They started talking to you and everything. So whatever they were saying before you walked in the door, let it go. It didn't have nothing to do with you. So they get to talking, and Kimmy initiates a conversation with them. And Kimmy was like, look, what has to happen for you all to be in a better place? Like, what has to happen to begin to bring you guys back, your friendship back? And Melody said, accountability for behavior. And Letitia was like, well, I feel like I take accountability. And y'all know Melody know how to give a look, honey. Melody was like, really? You really think you know how to be accountable for your behavior? And so Melody apologized first. She said, I apologize for things that I have said that were, upset you, that were wrong, that were inappropriate. I apologize for that. And then Letitia gave a very good apology. Letitia said, I apologize for the things I said because I said them to hurt you. See, that's a good apology because you're acknowledging what it is that you did and you're apologizing for it. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that, Letitia, because you're acknowledging that you said things to purposely hurt her. And she said, you are still in a bad place with what happened with you and Martell. And I said things that to hurt you. So I apologize for that. So that was a good place. And I think they were starting to move in the right direction. And then the other couple started showing up. And the game that they had was, the guy bought the game. Was it Sadark? I think Sadark was the one. He actually made a Monopoly board of Huntsville. Now, for somebody like myself, I am a Monopoly fanatic. I love Monopoly. So this was like, oh my gosh. And he had it made, and it highlighted the properties that were specific to the areas that the comeback group originally were supposed to be trying to help. And so they started playing the game, and the game was going really well, and everybody seemed like they were having a good time, honey. It was another couple there. What's his name? Kales is part of his company. He does barbecue in Huntsville. Everybody know him. Him and his girlfriend, they're engaged. And it was going really well until somebody started talking about the comeback group. Look, what I'm not getting ready to do is recap that whole comeback conversation, because I don't understand it, and I just don't even care no more. I don't care about the comeback group. I don't care what y'all do about the comeback group. I don't care nothing about that comeback group. But what I will say about this is, Melody was saying that she felt like it was not appropriate to promote the comeback group on things that the comeback group has not agreed to as a whole. And it was kind of specifically going to Kimmy's event, which the flyer on Kimmy's event highlighted the comeback group, like I said earlier. Now, Kimmy didn't agree. Kimmy said, I disagree. I don't feel like... No, what Melody was saying was that everybody should agree. We should vote on it, and everybody should agree that we're going to use the comeback group's name for specific events. Kimmy was like, I don't agree with that. I agree. I think that anything that you are going to use to promote the comeback group, I think the members of the comeback group should agree. Because, again, if that's the case, then... And I'm just, Marcel, you my guy. But first, Marcel, what you got that hat on for? What was that hat doing, Marcel? What was that hat doing? Looked like you just got back from, Bermuda or something. But anyway, I got to give Marcel a hard time. But let's say, for example, Marcel decided he wanted to have, a turkey giveaway down to the Script Club. And he wanted to put the comeback group's name on it. Just because he's a member of the comeback group, I do not think that entitles him to use the comeback group's name in his philanthropic activity down to the Script Club. And so on that one, I agree with Melody. But what I'm going to also say is that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Nobody should be using the comeback group in any activities until y'all figure out what the hell is going on with this comeback group. Now, that's my 2 cents on it, and I'm done with them. I'm done with the comeback group. So what happened was Kimmy got upset, and Letitia was saying, Kimmy, come downstairs with me. Let's go let's get a drink. And I'm thinking she pulling Kimmy away because Kimmy was upset, and she was trying to get her away so she could calm down and sort of, regroup. She pulled Kimmy away to pick Kimmy's brain about what the conversation was about when they were outside. Now, Letitia, I have a problem with this for a lot of reasons. One, that's not your business. Whatever they were talking about is not your business. Then you're going to ask Kimmy, well, what was it that y'all were talking about? And she said, well, if you don't, and then she going to say, well, if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to tell me. And Kimmy was like, okay. Because she's not going to tell you. So then she's going to say, well, can you at least tell me whether it was about me or not? And Kimmy was like, it wasn't about you. I don't believe that. See, I have a problem with that for 2 reasons. One, don't ask me a question if you're not even going to believe my answer. That's number one. And number two, what has Kimmy ever done to make you feel like she would lie? Kimmy's a straight shooter. If it was about you, I believe Kimmy would say, I'm not going to say that she would come right out and be like, yeah, girl, we was talking dog about you. But I think she would say, look, Melody had some things she wanted to talk to me about, and she asked me to keep it in confidence, and that's what I'm going to do. Like, but at the end of the day, you asked her a point blank question, and then she told you point blank no. She didn't hem and haw. She didn't try to talk around it. It seems to me like you should respect that that's where she was coming from. Respect the answer. But neither here nor there. And I felt like, Letitia, you were dirty for even going through, because now she talking about, I mean, they talking about me. I mean, what kind of friendship are we trying to build? And they just, Letitia, it's not about you. Like, everything, all roads don't lead back to Letitia. It ain't that deep. There were other things going on that ain't about you and Melody and y'all situation. And it just seems to me like for every 2 steps forward y'all take, now you taking 5 steps back because you're so damn insecure in your relationship / situation with where everything is with you and Melody, that it doesn't matter what anybody says. You are stuck on where you think things are. Anyway. So game night, I guess, continued, and I guess it ended up pretty good, and we ain't say nothing else more about the comeback group. Now, Melody has agreed to go see Martell's therapist, so they're having their first couples therapy session. Let me say this. Martell, you are the biggest narcissist not the biggest I've ever seen, but I did not realize how much of a narcissist you truly were until this season. Last season you came off selfish and a little whatever, but this season, in this therapy session, which I think was a good therapy session, I'm really curious to find out how we got from this therapy session to where they seem to be now. Because if you follow them on social media, they really truly seem to be in a good place, and they really seem to have reconciled. And let me be clear, I am happy about that. I don't want to see a black family broken up. I do not want to see, but y'all did some good therapy, because in this session, Martell is basically telling Melody, you didn't kiss my ass enough, and so I had an affair. He said, I wish you would give me more shine. I wish you would appreciate me more, because if it wasn't for me, you'd still be teaching school. Which, first of all, what the fuck that mean? Because ain't nothing wrong with being a teacher. But I understood the point he was making. I did understand the point he was making, because they are well on their way to being millionaires if they're not already millionaires. And trust me, ain't no teacher gonna be no millionaire. Let's be clear. Not from just teaching. So I understood the point he was making. However, and I thought that what Melody said was valid. Melody said, you were instrumental in helping me make my transition. However, I believe that God puts people in your life to help you get to your destiny. And I was already moving in a certain direction, but yes, you helped. Martell gonna say, no, I don't believe that. If it wasn't for me, and I need you to validate that. That's what he was saying. He went back to that whole, you weren't there for me. You weren't willing to do the things I needed you to do sexually. So I found somebody who would. I don't feel like you prioritized enough and you didn't make time for me. And Melody was like, are you serious right now? Like, really? So then she says, I apologize if you feel like I wasn't giving you the time or prioritize, or however she worded. She basically was like, I apologize if you feel like I didn't prioritize my time for you or what have you. He was like, you mean give me what I deserved? She said needed. He said deserved. That's what it was. She said, I apologize if you feel like I didn't give you the time you needed. He said the time I deserved. Baby. Even the therapist told him, he was like, look, I think you're being a little unfair, I don't want to put words in the therapist's mouth, but I think he said unfair. He said, I think you really need to get to the bottom of what it is, why you need so much validation. Because you're looking for validation from your wife in areas that maybe you lacked growing up or you didn't get growing up, because you are really putting a lot on her to validate you. And I was feeling Melody in this moment. I was feeling the therapist in this moment. Martell was feeling himself in this moment. I I was really sitting here speechless. I was sitting here like, are we really? This is really what we doing? Like, really? I was so, y'all. Whoo! I was speechless. I really was. And like I said, I would be curious to see how they got to where they are because, baby. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments, y'all. Peace.